everybody, it's Mindy and welcome back to another art video. So in my last video, I did say I wasn't gonna do fan art because I was drawing my OCs. But guess what? In this video, I'm doing fan art and nobody's gonna stop me. So for today's fan art video, we're doing FLAREON, and as some of you guys that have been on my channel for a while, you guys may remember this other piece that I did of FLAREON like a year and a half ago, I think. And that piece was really old and I didn't really like how it turned out. And I was flipping through one of my old art and I saw that piece and I was like, hey, let's do a redraw of that. And I always wanted to do an eeveelutions series, so I guess, hey, why not? Let's just start with FLAREON for the first Pokemon of the series. And I was like, yeah, let's do it. So this happened. And I know what you guys are thinking. Mindy, another series again? And yes, another series again, and it's called eeveelutions. Anyway, I just like doing series. I know it's gonna crowd up my channel in the future, but I think it's just fun, you know, in the time. And maybe in the future I was like, hey, I'm just gonna abandon the series, but it's just fun at the time, okay? I'm just trying to embrace the funness. Is that a word? I don't know. Hey Siri.
I'm listening.
Is funness a word?
Okay, I found this on the web for his funnest award.
I'm just gonna assume it's a word. I'm off topic. Anyways, for the art itself though, and I do see improvement. I look back at my old FLAREON fan art, I felt like I've improved with anatomy, the coloring, and my art style overall, and I felt like the new one just looked a lot more in-depth than the last one, because the last one is just like just simple shading here and there, but this one is like, oh, deep shading, and I'm proud of that. And overall, I am thankful for the improvement that I've been through, and it really gave me a boost of confidence, and it really does help an artist, you know. And yeah, and I also learned that don't make the flower a huge focal point in this picture, and yeah, I succeeded in that, so I'm happy with that. And there are a few things that I didn't like about this piece is that Eevee's fur color went terribly wrong. It almost made me scrap the whole piece, but I was like, hey, I'm too determined to back off now, so I keep going, and I tried my best to fix it, and oh boy, it was just a ride. So what happened is I didn't have the exact color for Eevee's fur color and her neck piece, neck area, like the fur around her neck. I'm just gonna call it a neck piece, and I'm gonna call Eevee a she, just for simplicity. Anyways, I didn't have the exact color, so I ended up going with E21 for the neck piece, and I don't know what crossed my mind to using that, but it ended up being too orange, and I don't know what to do, so I ended up covering it up with E31, and it just looked like a cruddy mess. And E31 is the color I use for Eevee's overall fur color, so it just blended in and it just looked gross, and I was like, well, I was so close to scrapping this whole piece. I was like, no, just continue going, see what happens. And yeah, so I busted my E23 and shaded it with E31, which worked, and so I was like, yes, I don't have to scrap it. So yeah, I ended up shading it to be a little bit darker than her neck piece, so it ended up working in the end. And overall, Eevee's entire fur color is a little bit too dark than in the reference photo, but that's okay. It worked out. To be honest, overall, I'm just glad that it didn't have to redo the whole piece, because it would just be a waste of time, and all the ink I wasted on the last one would just be a waste, because if you flip this over, you can see how much ink has bled through. That just proves how much ink I've used, and if I redo the whole piece, that ink would just be a waste and I would feel really bad. And yeah, I'm glad I didn't start over. And for the lighting on Eevee's face, it just looked muddy and cruddy and gross. Like for FLAREON, that's okay because her fur is already orange, so it's not big of a deal. But for Eevee, man, I was so scared the whole time when I was putting on the orange. I was like, oh no, this is gonna look so bad, and I was just so scared. But I decided to just took the plunge and just went for it. So it didn't look that bad now that I look at it, but Still, at the time, it was just so scary. I just put as much layer of E31, is it? Yeah, E31, just layered it on and on and on. Just try to not make it look stupid, and yeah, it worked out. I'm just very thankful for that. And honestly, my favorite part in this picture is the flower. I loved how it turned out. The lighting was just amazing, and I like how the transition is, like with the gradients and all. I just loved how it turned out. And I did use a reference. I used like a lily reference or something, like a lily flower. And for the last one, like my old piece, I didn't use a reference at all. I just go for it in my head. So that turned out wonky. But this one, I used a reference, and it looked decent. So I'm happy. Oh yeah, last thing I wanted to mention before I go is about my live streams. I figured out my schedule. I'm going to be live streaming on a Wednesday from 10 a.m. to 12 a.m. the max. I'm going to be live streaming for about 2 hours. I'm not sure yet. Let's see how awkward it gets. Maybe I'm going to stop early or maybe a little bit late. Just depends, you know? And I may skip a few weeks. It's just not sure yet, but I'm going to be live streaming here on YouTube. So if you want to be there, be there. Yes. And we have come to the end of this video. I hope you guys liked it. And as always, thank you everybody so much for watching. Give this video a like and subscribe to my channel if you're new. You have no idea how much it means to me. And yeah, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye bye!